welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Nyasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me as ever is the one, the only, irreplaceable, some may say delectable, Thandie Savannah. Can you call someone delectable? Is that like, I don't know, I feel like that might be like cancelable now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like that is very like 2000s noughties.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Them things.
Delectable mommy, you know?
Am I right? Oh my God. Well, that is Thandie. And with us today is a guest. We had requests. People said, bring her back. She had the itch. And I thought there's no other place where she could scratch that itch than the Quick Stop F1 podcast. It is F1 punditry queen is back on the mic. No. Then our good friend, your good friend, good sis, Paris.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. It has literally been the longest while. I am so happy to be back. I literally had to pull out my old Quick Stop t-shirt. Bring back the merch. Bring back the merch. Come on.
I love that colour, by the way. That's my favourite piece of merch. It's the most underrated one as well, because that's the one I wear the most often. I love it.
Yeah. And it's LH purple, look. So, you know.
It is LH purple. It looks great on you. How are you doing, Paris?
I'm all right, you know, like you said, just I felt like I needed to scratch the itch. I put out the call and you came like I'd done the bat signal. You were just like, yeah, let's bring her back. So I had to jump on. I'm happy to be back. I have been a bit out of the F1 sphere this past year, working on some life and personal goals. So hoping to come back for next season.
Look, I love that. And we will be there and we are here. Just like you guys at home are here. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. We're so close. Every subscription counts, so make sure you do that. And if you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. And if you want an ad-free stream, and if you're listening to this via an audio platform, I know you heard the adverts are back in there. So if you want an ad-free stream, make sure to hit up the Patreon for an ad-free stream of the podcast. Thandie, the Italian Grand Prix. I am trying my hardest to not say, I told you so. I'm trying my hardest to not say, look at your boy. I'm trying my hardest to not say that I was right and unnecessarily, wrongfully battered and bruised on my own platform when I pointed out the flaws of one Lando Norris. Having seen the evidence of the Italian Grand Prix, what's your summation of what we saw in Monza on Sunday? I give you the floor.
I would admittedly say not his best performance. Like not his best performance. I think I stopped watching when he came into the pits, and he did like a maneuver, and I was like, oh man, he's doing it bad. He ain't doing too good. But on that note, and we will talk about this more in the podcast, shout out Oscar Piastri. I like him a lot. Oscar Piastri, shout him. Yeah. But yeah, admittedly, not his best performance. Don't start your little witch hunt. Don't get your peoples on me, right? Because we are still Papaya Hive. We are still Papaya Hive.
I'm glad you can say that with your chest.
I can.
Right.
I'm still Papaya Hive.
Look, but she's Papaya Hive. She plays life with the Papaya Rules. Okay, just like the McLaren boys at Monza. Look, Paris, I guess let's get into it. And I guess, look, Thandie there mentioned Oscar Piastri, who is clearly a man, a boy, however you want to summon him, a young man who is not there to be a number 2 driver. He's not there to I guess, mollycoddle Lando, or even, I guess, he's there. He wants to win races. I think I heard him say in the post-race, it's not often that wins come around, and when they come around, you have to take them. So I guess that incident, or I would say it's an incident, that overtake into turn 4 on lap 1. How do you feel about that? Was Oscar Piastri right to make that move? Was he wrong to make that move? Should there have been stronger team orders? I guess, how do you see what was essentially what set the tone for McLaren as, even though they got second and third, a bad day at the office?
So I have personal thoughts on this, and I have objective thoughts on this.
Oh,
My
nice.
personal thoughts are, I'm with Piastri. I am 10 toes down in Piastri's court. I don't really mess with Lando like that. Like, I appreciate he is a good driver, but I feel like his persona is not my kind of persona. Oscar Piastri has that level of persona. Like, I feel like the dog that people wish that Lando was, Oscar Piastri is going to be. And I feel like Lando is like way too hard on himself. He's way too in his feelings all the time. And then like it ruins his races. And you can literally see that it ruins his races. Yeah. But on a like more objective level, whilst I feel like what he did was right in turn 1, in lap 1 in turn 4, I feel like that's a need necessary. Like, this is just a good start to the race. Lando needs to work on his starts. You can't really do much about that, right? But later down the line, in the later stages of the race, I feel like McLaren should have enforced team orders, because realistically, Piastri is not going to win the championship. He's not going to come close to winning the championship. And you could put all of those points towards Lando. So in that sense, I think much later in the race, not at the beginning of the race, I think let them race at the beginning of the race, see how it's kind of working out. But I think there were opportunities later in the race to ensure that Lando was favoured, and you could still get to enjoy Piastri's performance as a driver.
So tell me. Bellissima.
I'm actually so proud of her. Like, what a feat.
This is what the game's been missing.
This is what we meant to be missing. Because I feel like we get a lot of commentators within Formula One, not to name anyone, I promise I'm not atting anyone, but we do get a lot of commentators who are very leaning against drivers. The fact that you gave us an objective viewpoint that actually made sense. Harris, we missed you.
I missed you too, man. I missed you too. It's all love every time.
It's crazy. It's crazy. This is what everyone's asking us to do on the channel. Like, why are you guys so biased? Why can't you just give objective analysis? Like, oh shit, actually, I can see why they want that now.
Look, if I need to go 10 toes down for Oscar, I will, because he's got Mark Webber in his court, he's got all these people in his court, and I feel like he's going to be an outstanding driver. Like, I actually feel like he could win a championship before Lando, and that's saying something. But in this particular instance, like, if Lando has the opportunity, why not make the most of it? And everyone's like bringing up past seasons with like Max and Lewis and how they did team orders and all that kind of stuff. No, Bottas did not want to do team orders. Like, Perez has never wanted to do team orders. These people don't, all the drivers want to drive. It's up to the teams to enforce the team orders.
Mm-hmm. Look, let me tell you right now, I've got something to say on this subject, because I'm sick and tired of how everyone has bastardized what team orders are. And I love that you brought up Lewis, and I love that you brought up like Max, right? 9 times out of 10, when there were team orders, I'm telling you now, there were not team orders off the start line.
No.
The team orders were put in play in situations where, towards the end of the race, or in certain situations, if the leader of the World Championship or going for the title driver is behind you and he's considerably quicker than you, or you are holding that driver up, move out the way. Get out of the way. If you are with no chance of winning the title and the other guy's in second, yes, you may have to move out of the way, but only if that guy is on your case. I mean, the only time I can think of, like, Valtteri when it was like Valtteri is James, and they made him like slow down completely to let Lewis by. That is like the one time, and everyone uses that as like the way to describe the team orders. Let's be very honest. A lot of the time when team orders were issued, I can remember even in Spain 21 when Lewis was behind Valtteri and Valtteri was holding him up. Remember, he was on a bad strategy, and even then he was still holding up Lewis, and then he said, "Oh, just having some fun." Get the fuck out of the way. Lando Norris, the problem Lando Norris has, is that his shit is entitled. He feels entitled to these team orders when he's not putting enough pressure on Oscar for those team orders to make sense. You can't be entitled.
Lando doesn't drive like someone who wants the championship. Bruv. Like, the amount of times I've seen him leave the back door open for like Max or whoever, like, he has these moments. He has such moments of like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But he's not that guy. Like, I'm sorry. He has moments, but he's not the guy. So if he's in that position like now, because obviously he's second, you know, a lot of that also is the fact that Red Bull have declined. It is not all just because Lando has been an outstanding driver and pulled himself up to where Max is. Let's be real, okay? So at the end of the day, he's found himself in a fortunate position and the team need to capitalize on that. But realistically, if everything was fair and square from the beginning of the season, like the McLarens were doing as well as the Red Bull, I think Oscar would also be in a very good position.
I definitely agree with Oscar. I think Oscar is definitely marginalized towards even trying to maybe be better than Lando actually is what I think Lando probably is. However, I will never deny the dog that appears when Lando has his head screwed on, is paying attention, isn't in his feelings. And all those things I've mentioned are things that are stopping him from being that guy.
Is exactly. But how often is that?
Pardon?
Bruv.
How often is that?
A bit too often. I hear it, Paris. I hear it.
If Lando was in school, he'd be one of them dons that'd be like, the school report would be like, clever child, but it fails to concentrate in class too much.
Literally.
He's talking to it.
Look how great I turned out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
wow. I feel like you get team orders on this podcast. I'm not gonna lie. You get team orders all the time on this podcast. It's insane. Don't breathe.
And look at us, we're still winning. We're still winning. We're still on the podium.
I think my issue with Lando is in Hungary, if he just let Oscar go past and then he was on his backside, like, let me pass, I've got to go, then you can get the team orders you want. In Italy, in Monza, do you think Lewis Hamilton would have let Valtteri Bottas do him up the inside like that? No, fuck away. Do you think Max Verstappen will let Checo Perez do it? Bruv, if you're trying that, we both got to go. And then we'll deal with that after. Like, there's no way. He nearly spat. Like, and the thing is, what Oscar done was cheeky. And it actually reminded me, Lando nearly spun the same way. Remember when Vettel spun in Italy? When Lewis Hamilton went round the outside and, you know, they nearly touched and it nearly sent Vettel round. Lando could have done that. And if that had happened, it would have cost him even more points. But that set the tone. Then his head is lost. He's driving into the bollards in the pit lane. He's going through his tires. He's munching his tires like no one's business. And I just think, and then you see him in the cool-down room, and I'm like, look, I get it. We've got to be like, mental health is important. This guy is clearly going through a very stressful time, going for your first world championship, and when you get disappointments. But look, no one was talking mental health when he was saying Simply Lovely the other day in Holland. No one was mentioning his mental health was fine then. We can't just bring up mental health every time a guy fucks up and he's sad about it. You know, he was sat in the cool-down room like he lost all his money at the gambling machine. You know, the man in Ladbrokes.
You've seen a lot. Like, you will lose your own. It's not money, but theoretically, can you imagine how the things he thought last night would happen this time when he was? Do you know what I mean?
But one of the good things about Formula One, one of the good things about like great sportsmen, I won't say Formula One drivers, I think the good thing about a great sportsman is that you can separate yourself from the negative moments.
Yeah.
Like, you have to push past them, and he has to learn how to do that. Like,
yes,
if he wants it, he's got to fight for it. You got to be okay, cool.
Not
Oscar's
there.
overtaking you. Be on his ass. Be in a position to undercut him with your own team. Like, do all those kind of things. Like, you know they're available to you. We've seen it done a bajillion times.
But guys, I would also put some blame on the team themselves. The amount that Lando has been babied, mollycoddled, wrapped in tissue, given the golden spoon when he hasn't really earned it, that he does feel entitled. It's only now that Oscar's sticking his elbows out that he's like, wait a minute, this kid's actually good. Wait a minute, this kid actually might just be better than me. That now he's throwing his toys out of his window. And so, you know, heavy's the head that wears the crown, but he hasn't got the crown yet. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look, Chris makes a good point that Oscar is still mathematically possible for the title, and he's only 106 points behind Max. And I think we still have, 8 races to go now? So I guess, Paris, I'll put this to you. Is it time that McLaren, because this needs to end now, like Papaya Rules, fucking McLaren, Hell in a Cell, fucking Zach Brown steel cage match. I don't know what's going on, but whatever it is it time for McLaren to say, for the rest of the season, we have 8 races. Oscar, you need to help Lando Norris win the title, because although you're still mathematically possible to win the title, McLaren haven't won a world driver's title since 2007. Who knows what's going to happen next year? Red Bull might come back. Mercedes might come back. Ferrari look like they're developing a car which could be good. They have Lewis Hamilton in the car next year. 225 points left with sprints. Is it time for McLaren to say, you know what, Lando's our best bet? Or, as Zach Brown has said, this is the McLaren ethos. It's always been 2 number 1 drivers. Oscar is also a number 1 driver. Do you agree with that? And they carry on as it is? Or is it time to say, if we want to win the title, it's time to back Lando?
They've probably got about 1 or 2 races to sort this out, max. I think they could argue that for a little bit. Personally, I think they should be having tougher conversations. If I'm from a team perspective, not from a driver perspective. From a driver perspective, I'm like, no, like, let them race. You know, they're racing drivers. But from a team perspective, like, do what you can to help one driver really achieve that result. Like you said, they haven't had the world. And actually, with both of them pushing, you're probably going to like get even more points for the team. Make sure that you secure second in the Constructors Championship as well. Like, if you're both sure, you're less likely to have incidents on track where both of them end up crashing out, or, you know, and then losing the team valuable points. So I think from a team perspective, you got to lay down the law. Like, you have to be willing. That's the reason you're a multi-billion-pound company. Like, you got to be willing to make them tough decisions. I'm sorry.
Look, I've been itching to get this motherfucker off. Itching to get that off. Jesus, multi-billion-dollar company. All those sponsors on the car, you can't make one quick decision. Thandie, I'll put the same question. I'll put the same question to you. I guess I'll put it in a different way. Do you think if McLaren carry on the way that they are, let's say they never interfere with their drivers and they're free to race for the rest of the season, do you think that Lando Norris has what it takes to not only overcome Max Verstappen, not even overcome Oscar Piastri, but also the demons in his head? Can Lando Norris become world champion if things still play out the way they do within McLaren, in that he has to race his teammate?
No. Even I know that. And I've been saying that from the start of the year. I don't think Lando can win a championship this year. What I do definitely believe is they can get a lot of points and they can show off their skills and they can do the dance with no pants and still do the same thing that they did last in Imola. But I don't think they're going to win the championship. I think they can get the drivers.
Sorry, the constructors.
I can get constructors, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think they're pretty, sorry, because, you know, I don't know if they're 30 points off or whatever, but, you know, the Constructors Championship, if it goes as it is, you know, the way the Red Bull are, the way that Checo Perez is performing, and, you know, and even look, the way that Max is performing at the moment, it's not impossible that they'll get the Constructors. However, Ferrari are only 30 points behind them, I think, and we're going into races where Ferrari could be strong again. Baku again, long straight. People are going to have skinny wings on, so could that be a race they're strong at? Singapore, obviously, I think they won last year with Carlos Sainz. So could they be strong there again? So it's not impossible for Ferrari to overtake McLaren, and they could fumble both championships. And I just think, for me, all I'm saying is this, know your drivers. Because right now, I'm telling you right now, these two are heading for a Ricardo Verstappen Baku moment. They're heading for a Rosberg Hamilton Belgium moment. They are heading towards a crash.
Yeah.
They're going to take each other out. And 8 points between McLaren and Red Bull, and Ferrari are 31 points behind McLaren. So it's all to play for in the Constructors' Championship. Those two are going to take each other out. Mark my words.
Yeah.
Like, there is going to be contact whilst they try and overtake each other, whilst they fumble over each other. You can put your papaya rules in as much as possible. I can't believe this team. I can't take this team seriously. I'm sorry.
Who thought when they said papaya rules, who thought papaya rules meant not don't race for 10 seconds, and then we all realized actually papaya rules was the opposite.
No, papaya rules is have at it. Do what you want.
Do your thing. Do your thing. Papaya rules. Do your thing.
Oh my days.
Now you're blessed, bruv. Do we need to go on, bruv?
We all had a collective understanding. Wait, oh shit.
Yeah. One man for himself, free for all.
But man said no disqualification match. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Honestly, I just I honestly it frustrates me because you know how bad it has to be, and I guess as much as we can talk about McLaren, it frustrates me because you know how incompetent you have to be to make Ferrari look competent in their strategy department.
Ferrari,
you know what I mean?
8 yesterday.
Ferrari,
Ferrari had me searching Ferrari merch. They had me searching. Maybe I should get a lampshade, I need to be part of this. Some way, somehow be part of it.
Ferrari. A little hat, a little bit of merch. Just something.
I want to be part of the photo. Come on.
Look, I was learning the Italian national anthem. The only bit I know so far is bop 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 bop, and then they say some other shit after that. But I'm gonna learn it. I'm gonna learn it for next year. I'm there na 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 na. I'm there. Look, let's talk about Charlie, Chuck, Charles, eyes of an angel. Not much going on behind the eyes, Leclerc.
The most beautiful girl in the world.
He is a baby girl.
Oh, yes, he is a baby girl. He those eyes, they lead to perhaps nothing goes on in that brain, but when something does, man, beautiful as this,
If it's doing anything other than driving a Formula One car, it's literally just a monkey on a unicycle that's handling that is it. Paris, a word on Charles Leclerc this weekend. Look, this happens with Charles Leclerc. I think we're seeing it now in that when the car is not quite to his liking or they're developing the car, it seems like Carlos Sainz is better at adapting to a bad car, and he seems to start seasons better than Leclerc. Mm-hmm. Well, he started last season, I think, better than Leclerc, and then Leclerc became good. And then obviously this season as well, Carlos Sainz has started fairly strongly. Leclerc's not really been there, but since the summer break, obviously Zandvoort last week was a great performance. And then again this weekend, brave move on Lando. He had to go on the grass a little bit to get that move done. And then obviously to make the one-stop work, and I think he wanted to make it work from a long time ago because he didn't want to be brought in on the first stop. And then obviously it was clear that they were going to go for that as soon as the McLaren's pitted. a word on Charles Leclerc's performance and I guess the emotions of Ferrari winning at Monza.
How can you even describe it? Like, genuinely, I'm not a Tifosi. I've always loved Charles and Carlos as a pairing. I've always said that, to me, they are the strongest pair on the grid. Like, just what they both bring to a team. I think a lot of the other teams are a bit like one-sided, or they're just not as strong together. And I think, you know, seeing Charles like just win at Monza made my heart full. So I can't even imagine for a Tifosi like how that must have felt. And then also for him to have done it whilst like doing it on a one-stop was amazing, because sometimes like he's not the most technical guy, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't call him a tire whisperer. He's more of a like charger. He's a knight. Yeah. He's like a fighter. Do you know what I mean? But then to
say he's a fire. I just don't think he has. And every now and then, Paris. Every now and then.
I see it way more with him than like he is ready to get his elbows out and be in the trenches, like way more than you think Charles is letting anyone past him. Verstappen past him.
Charles is gonna pop a fight. I'll give you that.
Exactly. Like Charles is always out there. So, but that's what I mean. I usually think of him more as a fighter and like someone who comes out with these amazing moments of like battles on track. I wouldn't think of him more as like a long game racer where he's like thinking like, okay, let's try and do this on a one stop.
So correct.
I genuinely was thinking that the McLarens were going to overtake him towards the end. So the fact that they didn't, I was excited. I feel like all my winners won yesterday and all my losers lost. So I was happy.
We can definitely get into that because there's a few losers. I'm sure will come up in the donkey segment. Thandie.
Yes, sir.
Charles Leclerc, I guess he's a bit of an enigma in that he gets put in this bracket, or he was put in this bracket, I think, until the last couple of seasons where I think probably until 2022, I think, you know, when he had the first few races where he was like going toe-to-toe with Max Verstappen, and then obviously the Ferrari fell off a cliff. Since then, he's been here and there, but not really there. But he was kind of put in that bracket of, I think before Verstappen won a couple of titles, it was like Lewis Hamilton and then Verstappen, Leclerc, Alonso, stick him in. He was in that elite group. And then I think he'd been taken out. And look, I think that was due to the mistakes that he makes. He can like, you know, lose it on his own. He can sometimes go missing during weekends. Do you think that he deserves to have that status up there? You know, he does seem to pull out race wins whenever he's there for a race win, other than, you know, when he does bin it. But I guess, where do you view Charles in the F1 kind of F1 list of top drivers? Is he elite? Is he just very good? Where do you put him?
With our current driver standings, I would say he is elite. Yes, I would say since that weird time when we had Alonso up there and Max, I know the time that you were talking about, it was a really odd time for all of us, to be fair. Very confusing time for everyone involved. I think he slightly dropped places in certain race periods, certain times throughout this year. I definitely agree with Paris where she said that when it comes to putting his elbows out and fighting, he will fight. But we've always said, in fact, if anything, that entire thing where we say like he hasn't got the dog in him had started because we were talking about Charles. Because at times the dog does not appear. At times it's not so much a Rottweiler or or anything else. It's a softer puppy. It's a puppy who's hurt
with big eyes.
The puppy that could have done so much more to have defended his place. It's a puppy that was put in the wrong strategy and ended up there and ended up crashing out and didn't finish the race. So it depends on what mood and what season you get him on. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he's done it. This is the second time he's won Imola in it. So that's always great because, you know, certain people didn't even win their home races this year. Shout out Max Verstappen. And so, you know, he still has to be up in there and elite. So, and to even be put in a Ferrari first off,
Yeah.
to be part of the first. Like, you've got to be something. Do you know what I mean? And all the time he fails at it, that's when Carlos Sainz shines.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And I think, look, and I think that's the thing with Charles. I think what I liked this weekend was that I think it's not often we hear him, like, obviously we hear him moan about strategy all the time. Like, oh, why have we done this? Why haven't he done this? And I think it was
orchestrating himself for the strategy.
Yeah, I think I think it was good to see him kind of, obviously we didn't hear too much of the radio in terms of the decision to go long, but I think, to hear him present and almost directing strategy, and I think that's why they compare it to Carlos, when Carlos is very clear and very like almost driving strategy from his car, and then that has been to his benefit quite a lot, whereas Charles has lost out on good positions and wins because he's not been strong enough on the radio. And I think it was really good to see that this weekend. He was really strong, and I think his pace was great. I tweeted at the time that it had a whiff of the George Russell Belgium about it, not because I thought the George Russell Belgium performance was, I think, look, we need to leave that in the past or whatever, but just that the team's really at this moment in time not understanding the tires. And I think it shows, a new tarmac gets put down, even though they have 3 practice sessions, they still don't know what the tire deck is going to be like on this car. They don't know what it's going to be like with the graining. I think Oscar Piastri said that, they couldn't have gone on a one-stop because, when they had graining in practice, it was like if they tried to brake, it would lock up the tire and turn it into a 50 pence piece. So McLaren had no faith in their tires that they would go long in the way that they did. Ferrari took the gamble and it worked in the same way that, no one thought the tires would do a one-stop in Belgium, and they did very easily. Turn out, if George Russell can do it, then anyone could have done it. So I think it's weird to see. It's great that we see what happens when F1 teams don't have all the data, and we get these races where they don't know the tires, and it mixes things up, because when they have all the data and it's just like a boring one-stop or it's a boring two-stop, that's when you get these processions. But when there's different strategies, which we've been getting in the last, 10 races or so, that's what's switching up, and that's what's making this. Man, if this season was like this from the start, we'd be looking at an absolute
different.
It has improved so much.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe because we've had so many races. So it's been different opportunities for people to bottle it, improve themselves, show off. The calendar's actually improved kind of the race quality compared to last year, past 2 years, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's one of those where, look, this is what happens when it happens every time there's a regulation change. Like one team aces it, and then by the time everyone else catches up, they're going to start changing it again. And it's just like, well, what are we going to do here? So, no, congratulations to Charles and Ferrari. That shit, man, that means something, man. Like Ferrari win at Monza, it just gets the emotions going, man. And it's crazy because, like, I'm not Italian, like I say, but I'm not Italian. I'm going to be a Ferrari fan by default next year. I can't wait to, like, just even have like a little, like, imagine I have like a little piece of that. I never thought I'd go through my life being able to like connect with that. And next season for the next 2 seasons, we're going to be able to support Ferrari at Monza, at Imola, and to kind of feel what that is like for a Ferrari fan. And I think, shout out all the Ferrari fans, shout out Vincenzo and them, man. I hope you guys, all of the Ferrari fans, I'm trying to think who else is a Ferrari fan that we know, but Tommy is probably a Ferrari fan because he's like, he owns Ferraris. So
and Tommy,
Mariam's also a Ferrari fan.
Shout out Mariam. Yes, Mariam. Mariam. Shout out.
She'll be happy.
She'll be very happy. So look, shout out all the Ferrari fans. Right, I'm going to give you a choice. Before we go into stars and donkeys. Would you like to talk about Mercedes, or would you like to talk about Red Bull?
I'm voting Red Bull.
All right, Red Bull as well.
These men are in the dirt.
Today.
The fuck out of here.
To be fair, I knew that we had a serious case on our hands when Paris said the decline of Red Bull. I haven't heard that in years. What?
Yeah.
We're really at that stage where we're calling it a decline, isn't it? Thank God. Thank God. Oh my gosh. What a time.
I feel like
Amen.
Checo. What can I say? I feel like I would pay Checo for the book rights after he leaves Red Bull. I want to know what's been going on.
Wow.
Because
you know
he
what,
has
Harry?
said some interesting stuff.
Trust.
Can I read
don't
you?
want the book that comes out within a year. We want the book that comes out after the NDA has finished.
It's expired.
Yeah?
I want that book. I want that book.
Can I read you a quote from Checo Perez, which has sent Twitter into a frenzy? So this is Checo being interviewed after the race on Sunday, talking about the performance of the car and so forth. I've been in the same boat for the last 8 to 10 races with the issues in the car, but now Max all of a sudden has come to similar issues, and I can't describe to you. He does this little those little shoulders like Max all of a sudden has come to similar issues. We've not really spoken about the asymmetrical brake thing since the article came out. And obviously, like Zandvoort, someone decided to take a personal break again. So we didn't have a podcast last week. So we weren't able to, I guess, talk about the rumors, right? I'm going to preface this by saying, I will explain the rumors, okay? Right. The rumors, which are unfounded, denied by Red Bull, hearsay, coincidental evidence that we have. So, the FIA in summer introduced a regulation update, and this regulation update was that teams were not permitted to have asymmetrical brake bias on their car from left to right. So essentially, imagine brake bias, you can have a ratio of like how much the car is braking front to back. So you can set it 60% at the front, 40% at the back, and that allows you like better grip in certain types of corners, right? The rumors were that a team, some teams, no teams, whatever, but for them to have introduced it, either someone's brought it up or they've caught someone. The rumors were that, the regulation basically says you can't have brake bias from left to right. So essentially, there can't be a mechanism in the car which allows you to differentiate the bias of braking that you have from the left side to the right side. Now, how teams were doing this, people don't know. Some people think that there was some kind of like lever or pulley that, adjusted the brake bias as the car went around the corner. Imagine as the car goes around the corner, the weight that the car is having on one side, it would push some kind of lever which would create more brake bias and allow you to turn the car in almost like a handbrake turn. Right? Now, people are saying that obviously the Red Bull, Max Verstappen loves a front end car. So maybe, I don't know about brake bias, whatever, but he likes a pointed car where he can point the car in and turn easily. And for the first 5 races, maybe last season, pardon?
That's his signature move.
That's his signature move. That's his people's elbow, the rock bottom, all of them things there, choke slam. So they're saying that, Max's car, that's what he likes to do. He had that and that helped him. There's a kind of point where I think they're saying like at some point in the year, maybe like, I can't remember, like some point in the year, that stops happening. And Max starts complaining that he can't turn the car. And there's constant specific things about Max Verstappen coming on radio and saying that he cannot turn the car. The car is not turning. And people are saying that this regulation update was a big result of either someone complaining to the FIA that Red Bull had this, and they've had to take it off in the same way that Ferrari had the engine, the fuel valve thing, which went into their engine and had them have a rocket engine, and then they had to take that out, and all of a sudden the pace came down, but there was no official punishment, and it was done in the corridors in the dark. They're saying that Red Bull have had a similar thing where they've basically been told, if you have that on your car, you need to take it off because it will be illegal. It's come off. They are now struggling with their car, especially with the fact that handling of the car is not good. I say all that to say, Checo Perez is now insinuating that he has always had these issues. The car has always been shit. But all of a sudden, Max Verstappen has the same issues that he has. And he doesn't know why.
It was equal machinery.
So,
Equal
Chris was,
machinery.
let me tell you now, Chris, our producer, livid. Let me read you Chris's tweet, yeah? I've never caught a subtweet so hard in my life. I'm like, what the fuck me for? Here we go. And people, exclamation, try to tell me with their whole chest that they weren't in different cars. Well, 4 question marks. What you got to say now? Question mark. And this is the mad thing. And this guy doesn't eat meat, so you know he meant this part. If it smells like a duck, tastes like a duck, don't try and tell me it's a cucumber.
Hey, boring.
Angry vegetarian.
No, I'm sorry. Give Chris a round of applause for that. Whoa.
Oh my God, I call that stuff. Anyway, didn't have to red me for filth. I say all this to say, guys, if that is, and sorry for talking for a long time, hopefully that explains the Red Bull asymmetrical brake bias situation. I can hear myself. What do you guys think, I guess? This Red Bull fall from grace is delicious, I guess. How do you guys feel about it? Do you think that there's something in the air? Do you think it's just a team that's struggling to develop the car? Is this all like a fugazi, whatever? Like, what are we talking about here? What's happening?
Rumors just don't pop out of nowhere, Nyasha.
Yeah. In Formula One, there's always a little crumb.
There's always a whistleblower. And it's all making sense. When you were talking, if you were looking at my little brain, it was all making sense. It all makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, how does it not make sense? That's his signature move. The turn, the sneaking up on people on the turn. How is it not making sense? Chris has every right to lose his freaking little mind, mate. What the fuck? And then Checo blatantly admitting it and being like, well, I've had a different car this time. I think Checo even found out the same time we did. Checo probably found out. That's so peak.
Checo believed when they were like, no, you've got the same car.
Like, the whole time they've been gaslighting him. They've been gaslighting him. Checo found out through FIA girlie on Twitter. And now he's big. And I hear it. That's
okay.
Shit.
I'd need to double check, but I'm pretty sure so it's been 6 races, I think, since Max won, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for those races, how close have Checo and Max been? Because prior to the last 6 races, there was a massive deficit. Like, Checo was, on top of that, Checo was just messing up. Like, he was effing up every race, ending up like really far behind in quali, not even making it out of Q3, right? So he was just terrible anyway. And I like Checo as a person or whatever, but like, he's not been a great Red Bull driver. But you could kind of count on Max to be up here, right?
Yeah.
Now, somehow they're both around here. And you have to just like wonder why they're in the same position, because if Max's driving skills have not changed, and I don't think, as much as Checo has been probably working on making his driving skills better. I don't think it's enough to bring him back up to like where Max is, you know? You have to ask why.
If it walks like a duck and it tastes like a duck, don't try to tell me it's a fucking cucumber, bruv.
Fucking cucumber, brother. Ow, cucumber. Because I heard there's a.
Oh yeah. And that's even worse. They've got salmonella in the cucumbers in
America. In the US. Trust me.
And them shits probably cost $10 as well. That's the bullshit.
Oh man.
I'll never get over how expensive your vegetables are. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Bringing back Austin.
This man was eating 7-Eleven tacos, guys. We can't take him seriously, please. Anyway, please don't take any insult, guys. He eats 7-Eleven tacos. It's calm. Don't worry.
I'll do it again. Let me tell you that. We've got fucking Rustler's burgers over here. They've got tacos in their petrol station. Pardon?
I don't touch Rustler's burgers.
Yeah.
No, this is what I'm saying.
Petrol station.
I'll take a 7-Eleven taco over a fucking Rustler's burger any day.
Do you eat pepperoni sticks?
No, I don't. But I had a Slim Jim in fucking America, and that was disgusting.
Slim Jim's
fucking butters, bro.
Nasty. Is that pork or is that beef? Whatever it is.
I don't even know. No, that's just like
beef jerky.
I look at beef jerky is just biltong, really. Like I'll munch that. Like, do you mean? But beef jerky is like processed biltong. I would just rather just get biltong.
Yeah, man. Shout out biltong eaters every day. Anyone want to send me little pack of biltong there? Shout me. Anyway.
But yeah,
So look, for me, I'm telling you now, yeah. You know what's really like fucking me up about the Red Bull thing, yeah. It's man are trying to make like, look, I may be an idiot, but I'm not stupid, bruv. Yeah. Like, don't talk to me like I'm stupid. I'm a donut. But there is no one that has explained to me. They're trying to say like the updates don't work. Just put this, however the car was when you were winning by 30 seconds. Just go back to that. Just go back to that.
Under the car when nobody's watching, and let's,
just do what you need to do to make the car exactly the same way it was. You guys have all the parts. We've got mechanics on Twitter saying, "Oh well, I've been the one building the car for the last 14 races. I know this isn't on there." Well, you can't even put the tire on properly at the race. No wonder you man are failing, bro.
Pay grade, brother.
Too busy tweeting, not enough time practicing your wheel gun, brother.
You think the real people have Twitter? They have NDAs.
The thing is as well, you could just attribute it to like, the car not racing well for one track or like two tracks, but it's been a number of races
everywhere. High speed,
so it's not even track. It's not a track specific thing.
It is everywhere. I'm sorry. Like, someone explain to me, and I know they're going to be in the comments saying, "No, the upgrades don't work." Like, guys, like, it's too much of a coincidence now. Like, it's and like, you know what? Yeah, the one thing is, like, shout out to Break, who is who was an F1 content creator, and obviously he was Max Verstappen's old performance engineer. He's now a World Endurance Championship engineer, and he's been very adamant. Like, this thing that you're proposing was in the car. Like, how was it even on the car? How do you know it was on the car? Like, it would be impossible to put this on the car. And here's someone's opinion that I do respect. So I say all of this slightly tongue in cheek, but what I do want to say is, I feel like the media kind of ran with this theory and this kind of like Red Bull could be on Red Bull's car. And then it's just gone silent, bruv. Like, no one's giving like a thorough explanation of how this car, which won by, Chris, can you get me the China finishing times, please? I'm very sure Max won by like 18, 20 seconds in China ahead of McLaren. There is no way that McLaren have basically done a swing of like 40 seconds in pace over Red Bull.
So historic,
it's
though. Like,
impossible.
It's amazing how they've got away with this. Like, what the fuck? But it's so genius at the same time. Like, we thought it was something under the car, and it's as simple as the brakes.
It's the brakes.
That is
it
genius.
Is as simple
like,
as the
kudos
brakes.
to whoever thought of it, you evil genius. Like, the fuck?
And it's, look, so I just want someone to explain to me in layman's terms, why is this car, which was good at every circuit for 5-6 races in a row, to the point where we thought they were going to win every race this season, someone explain to me how that car is suddenly 40 seconds a lap slower and they can't just revert to the car that was really good. Maybe look, and I know we're going to get comments calling me stupid, calling me dumb. Explain it to me without being rude, and I will listen.
Yeah.
I will listen.
Yeah.
If at any point there's any disrespect, I will give you the wickedest disrespect back. I promise you. I've got time. Anyway.
I think just to add, like, that's the key thing. It's not just that the car is slower and everybody else has caught up. Like, they've gone really far back in the pack. Like, they're hitting 6th and 7th. So, as you said, like, why could they not revert to an older spec to at least bring them back up in line? Because they were ahead. So theoretically, if they're losing 20 seconds based on these new upgrades, they should be, kind of like 3rd, 4th, like still middle of the pack, right?
Even just to say, okay, this is what we know, and then we'll develop it from here. Like, we'll go back to this spec. Like you say, like every team, they put updates on the car. The updates don't work. Okay, we're taking them off. We're starting again. This is what we know. This is what we understand. I'm not seeing that. It don't make sense, bruv. And the thing is, the more it don't make sense, the more people are going to say that's the thing, because no one's coming out and saying like something that makes sense, bruv. They don't know what's wrong with it. And they're like, apparently Max Verstappen had a look at the data and he said, well, that's it. Now they know what it is. Bruv, like, anyway, let me not.
They have a week to release the body cam footage. I'm going feral on the internet.
I don't blame you whatsoever. Yeah. Paris, star of the day.
I think my star has to be Charles. Like, I know it's such an easy one, but yeah, just that was a lovely way to kind of end Monza. I thought it was wicked.
I love that. Thandie, star of the day.
2 people, Charles, because that blue-eyed boy did it, and I'm really proud of him. And like, he just looks so happy, and and then my second one's Oscar Piastri. Like, what a little, it's like when you take your kid to nursery, he's not really making friends at first, he's not really amalgamating, and then they pick up so much at nursery. Look at him, he's a little dog, he's vicious, he's not having it. And I love that. So shout out Oscar Piastri for just not having it.
I love that. I love that. You know what? I want to shout out Colapinto for getting into 12th in that Williams in his first race, not crashing the car like some man. Oh shit.
You just thought of another
let me think. So my star of the day is Lewis Hamilton, purely because I want to talk about Mercedes.
Right.
So I would say it was a good performance during the race, and he done what he had to do, like during whatever. But I think Mercedes are a bit fucked next year. I'm not gonna lie, and I'll tell you why. Because my donkey of the day is George Russell. Like, I am tired of commentators bringing up this head-to-head between George Russell and Lewis Hamilton in qualifying, like it means anything.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
When your driver, you're fucking 20 to fucking 0 in qualifying. When you go backwards every time, and the reason you go backwards is because you've got no tire management, you've got no spatial awareness. How does he keep fucking up positions like this like on his own. If that was someone else, yeah, I'm telling you now, he does not get enough stick for the stuff that he does, yeah. Because if that was someone else who nearly went into the back of Oscar Piastri, had to go down the exit ramp because he did, if that was Valtteri Bottas, we would have been slamming him. I cannot do it with this guy. He's got no tire preservation. He's got no spatial awareness. He crashes on his own. He starts far ahead. That thing about Lewis Hamilton and George Russell could start like at opposite ends of the grid and they'll always end up together or Lewis ahead. It's crazy. I know Lewis is ahead in the points. Look, George has had a DNF and he's had a disqualification. So obviously without those, they'd be pretty even, I guess. But the fact that you're that far ahead in qualifying and you still always go backwards, I just think this guy is not cut out for it to be a team leader in that team. And then he's going to be team leading Kimi Antonelli. Bless his cotton socks. Brother, you cannot do them things, bro. You cannot
I felt so bad
it.
for him. I'm not going to lie. I feel like, you know, just how he must have felt, like crashing, and he knows like all eyes are on him. The contract, the ink is pretty much dry. Like they just need to, you know, dust off the photocopying ink and then put that pen signature on there. So I feel like it was just unfortunate for him because I feel like that was just a lot of pressure for a kid kind of thing. I am not going to lie. Second to the downfall of Red Bull, the downfall I want to see the most is the downfall of Mercedes as a team. And that is only because of the way they have treated Lewis Hamilton since 2021. Prior to 2021, I'd have been very cool for Mercedes. I've still got all my Mercedes merch. I'm not like burning it just yet, right? It's not that. I just think they've handled the Lewis Hamilton situation since Abu Dhabi 2021, even before Abu Dhabi 2021, because throughout that, anyway, let me not even get into 2021. But my point is, Toto tells on himself. He's like that snitch that goes to the police station and says, "Rah, I was not walking yesterday into the corner shop and I did not take anything. I promise." Okay, no one was asking you that. Why are you telling us that 5 minutes after Lewis signed Ferrari, you'd already decided Kimi Antonelli? I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I feel like, yes, fam. Toto tells on himself every single time.
The switch up from Toto, it's giving me trust issues, man, because what the fuck? That is crazy. But yeah, I definitely saw that crash and got a little I got a little jitter in my step, little something in my step after I saw that. Really gave me the confidence I need. Yeah.
That seems
and
finished.
Also undermined George by also saying that, you know, confirming that they were actively pursuing Max for the seat and that Kimi's the future. So if they are still actively pursuing Max, we've seen Max be very upset over the recent races, not saying that he's going to leave Red Bull because honestly, them man love to be in hell together, but he could be tempted 1 year, 2020, end of 2025. He could be tempted to move to Mercedes. Does Toto get rid of George or does he get rid of Kimi?
He gets rid of George because he's finished, bruv. Get him out of here. I'm sorry. Like, I had this debate with like Cameron and them, man, and like they were like Cam, like he couldn't. Like I love Cam. Shout out Cam. Like he couldn't believe. Like what? How could Toto do that to George Russell? George Russell is a future. Look at your future driving down the escape road on lap 1, bro. Like that's what he does. He's not that guy. He's never been that guy. If he was that guy, he'd be comfortably beating Lewis Hamilton. Do you know why? Because that's the level you need. If you want to be the guy, you got to beat the guy. And he's not beating the guy. He's done it in one season when the car was awful and Lewis was doing Inspector Gadget on the car for half a season. We saw last year what happens when the car's even. We're seeing this year when the car's even. I'm sorry, like I cannot get, he's not that guy. He goes backwards, he makes mistakes. Lewis's qualifying pace is a worry. I'm not going to lie to you. Next season, I said this at the start of the season, people got at me. Let's hope like more confidence in the car at Ferrari brings better pace. I hope so. But if this qualifying decline happens at Ferrari, it's not going to be very easy to beat Charles Leclerc. But
yeah,
I have every faith
I'm
that
not going to lie,
will.
I can't see Lewis beating Charles in quali. Charles is quick over one lap.
Rapido.
And if you think about it as well, not to pull up Lewis, I'm very sorry. I love you, Lewis. But the qualifying decline has not just been since George.
Not
like
just this
he
season,
often used to not beat Bottas in quali. So quali's just never been his strong suit, and he is much better race day driver, and he knows that about himself. But the problem is he's also taking it very hard on himself at the moment, and that can affect his confidence, and we don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I will just pull you up and say, while it isn't like, I wouldn't say it's not his strong suit, but he is, he has always had great race pace. But obviously, like 100 and whatever, 8 poles, 7 poles, like it is a very strong part of his game. But I just want to say, because man will flame me for that. I want to protect you. I just want to protect you a little bit.
I love Lewis, okay? I don't even need to caveat that. You guys should know by now.
I know the listeners, look, they're going to get at me. I don't know what I'm going to do, like, honestly. Yeah, Mercedes, I don't know, man. Like, look, I think with Kimi, Chris from Pits Off Racker tweeted something quite good in that he said, this will either be used as that crash will be either like the thing that shows us that he wasn't ready, or it will be like, it will just be like a blip, and we'll be like, look at the progress he's made since that FP1 crash in Monza. Look how steady he is. Look at the growth. And I do hope it's the former, because you want, he's being touted as the next one, essentially,
But that's what they told me about George Russell. That's what they said. He's the one.
And
he's been co-signed by Lewis. Everybody loves him. He's the one. Like, can we stop calling people the one? Just because they're young.
They prove themselves.
Yeah, just because they're young and we've got them from somewhere in Europe doesn't mean he's the one. Just because his name, it gives Formula. Do you know what I really want? I'm not a hater in it. Like, I really want him to do well.
Yeah.
Especially anybody who's willing to crash George's car. Like, please, slam that shit.
I'm surprised George didn't use that as a reason why everything went wrong for him this weekend.
Well, he needs to find a blame for everything, doesn't he?
No, he took ownership this weekend. Like
he did for once. I was actually really happy that he just said, "Yeah, that was a judgment call on my behalf," and I rate that. But that is like, you just can't do that, man. Like, I just think it does. Like, anyway, Thandie, donkey of the day.
Who's my donkey? I will say. Okay, Lando Norris, okay? I will say Lando.
Yeah.
Like, things could have been better. Your attitude still very much stinks. It's very smelly. It's pungent even.
It's the opposite of demure and mindful.
Yeah. Nothing mindful, nothing demure about what happened over the weekend. And I think he needs to have a word with himself and his ego on how he feels about his teammates, how he feels about team orders, and how he actually sees the season ending realistically.
Look, the quote that's been going around quite a lot of Lando Norris saying, when Lewis, I think, got to 100, or whenever this quote came out, and he was saying, well, he's supposed to win. He's in the quickest car. It doesn't have to beat that many people. And well, how the turntables. Lando Norris.
He's such a bastard, man. Why do we like him?
We is too strong.
He's speaking French. He's speaking a lot of French. you know what I mean? I know you've been inspired by the Paralympics and that, but you need to relax. You need to relax. But by the way, bruv, shout out the Paralympics, bruv. I don't know if you
Oh
watched
my gosh, guys! Shout out Paralympics, so much better than the Olympics.
I've been locked in, bruv.
Locked in.
I've been locked in. I'm not even gonna say like, because the way I want to describe it, I don't want it to sound disrespectful, but like the shit that I've seen is insane. Man, I've seen that archer just get a bullseye with their fucking toe. Like, you know, like that is insane.
I saw someone complete an entire race with a carer next to them, whilst his carer was running next to him.
It's insane.
The long jump one is mad.
Amazing.
Bruv, shout out Paralympians. Shout out the Paralympics every
Paralympics,
time.
Man.
Paris, can I have your donkey of the day, please?
My donkey of the day is AlphaTauri. Because...
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
So, it's AlphaTauri for two reasons. Yuki getting his DNF, and I love Yuki. And I think he's very stressed out because of just how AlphaTauri are running as an organization, that whole dynamic between him and Ricciardo and them not wanting to promote him to Red Bull, not even considering him like as a potential, but priming Daniel Ricciardo and pushing Daniel, and Yuki basically kind of insinuating now that, you know, Daniel is seriously getting preferential treatment in the car. And then Daniel Ricciardo ending up with a 10-second penalty, having to serve the 10-second penalty, and then getting another penalty for not serving the 10-second penalty correctly because the AlphaTauri mechanic accidentally touched it.
Like, how he touched it, and he was like,
that little touch as well.
He knew. So yeah, AlphaTauri.
That is like the prime metaphor for when you are a person of color in the workplace and you're like busting your ass, and then you just got like the Caucasian co-worker who is not busting their ass, but is considered for things before you, is given preferential treatment before you.
Because they go for drinks on a Thursday and you don't want to go for drinks on a Thursday.
Right,
literally.
You know, they're the boss's son or nephew or the friend's hire or whatever. And like, honest to God, if Daniel Ricciardo gets that seat next year,
it's rigged.
Look, you might as well keep Checo in that car. I'm not gonna lie. I've completely about-faced. Like, the performances ain't even that bad anymore compared to Golden Boy. Hey, guys, what happened to Max out driving the car at any possibilities, huh? I thought Max could win in any car. They were acting like he was driving Fred Flintstone's car. Say something now. What's going on? Why can't he just move his... Hey, why can't Max Verstappen just defend the inside line when he's getting overtaken anymore? What's going on? Do you know what I love about Max, though? You know what? Fair play to Max. This guy will flame his own team, bro. This guy don't give a fuck. This guy in the interviews on the radio. Bro, did you hear that radio message? It was like, hey guys, I know we're in a shit position, but can you guys in the background stay on your job, please? Oh my God.
What was he even talking about? Because I looked at that and I was like, wait, you're like 20 seconds away from the person in front. You're like 10 seconds away from the person behind. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
I saw a quote that it basically was asked about it. Actually, no, there's a really good account on Twitter which basically translates all of his Dutch interviews. Scuderia Femboy is the account, and they basically translate all of Max's Dutch interviews. And essentially, I'll get it up now. What's the date today? September 1st. He said, so I'm getting up here. Basically, he got asked that, so Viaplay, at some point you say, can people in the background please be awake? It's important. And they asked him, what did you mean? Max, in the race, my battery was relatively empty while fighting Lando, of course. Then I had to go to a certain setting. At some point, they have to tell me when I can go back to the quicker setting. I asked, can I go back? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can. Then I thought, what is this? You guys have all the data the entire time. You guys can exactly see when I can make those steps. I shouldn't have to ask when I can go back. We might be in nobody's land, but you still have to be on top of things. Otherwise, I can just stay at home. This guy is Callum, get off Twitter.
Fucking hell.
Do your job. Honestly. So anyway, that was that. Thandie, quickly, before we read out the tweets, thoughts on your boy Kevin Magnussen getting a 10-second penalty and a 2-point penalty on his license, which means he has 12 points in 12 months, which means he will now miss the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. Thoughts?
Time, mate. It's about time. Okay, that man has not like.
He's
what
a terrorist.
Doing there? It's about time. Honestly, free us. Free us.
Yeah.
It's literally been like 12 years, I think, since like the last person got a race ban, which is Romain Grosjean.
It was the Phoenix. Do you know what I mean?
And before he was the Phoenix, he was the last kamikaze. Well, he wasn't the last kamikaze. There's been better than since. But none of them...
I will not open my mouth about Grosjean because I have nothing nice to say. And sometimes I say offensive stuff. Don't get me started on Grosjean.
I don't know. I just thought that we'd kind of move past that era, but clearly not.
Yeah, I'm even starting to itch. Let's move on. Like, I'm scratching right now. People are giving me the hives.
All of those points came this year as well. I just want to say. He did it in 8 months. Not even 8 months. 5.
People stand him. Like, I really would love to interview a K-Mag fan, like a super fan. I want to know what it is. What's the appeal?
You know, like them, man. Look, we grew up in a time where people would like go to the shop and they would buy like the Bob the Builder CD, the fucking the Cheeky Girls CD. You know, when people like things ironically, but then they make it their whole fucking personality to like something ironically, but then it becomes their personality. So now they like own it and they're like, I am a K-Mag stan. I actually think he's good. The guy's washed, and I actually like, I have zero respect for anyone who like genuinely stands him. Like, what are we doing here? But look, you can love who you love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sound like one of them. Look, do you know what I mean? It's none of my business, mate. You know, it's none of my business.
It's not
love who you love, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It's not for me, mate, but you can love me.
It's not for me. Do you know what I mean? As long as it's not in my face. Do you know what I mean?
As long as they don't do it in my face, I'm all right. As long as they do.
I am joking. Comedy time. Comedy time. Comedy time.
No, come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Right, let's read some tweets. Let me put the tweets in here for you guys. Guys, thank you for... I'm always like super surprised at the response rate to this.
Yeah, man.
So thank you guys for always working with us. Sorry for taking a break. Some of us can't handle carnival. Right, so... I'm going to read out. I'm going to read out my guy, Benjamin Rose, I_Benjamin Rose, who says, start of the day is Charles, don't give the day, George Russell and Hulk. What I will say actually about the Kevin Magnussen penalty is that I do understand him being a bit pissed off about it because he got like a 10-second penalty for what was, I thought, a relatively... Like, I saw Max Verstappen climb all over Lewis's front wheel, locking up, going over the road, and I can't remember what Chris, can you bring up what Max Verstappen got in Hungary? I'm pretty sure it's no further action because he did a post about it. I think what Max Verstappen done in Hungary was 10 times worse than what Kevin Magnussen did in Italy, and the lack of consistency is insane. However, having said that, if you're on 2 points away from a penalty and you start locking your wheels and crashing into people, no matter how light, you deserve everything you're going to get. Anyway, Benjamin Rose says, yet another backwards performance from the toy sheriff. Red Bull in the mud, Mercedes 2, gold boots crying on the radio and after the race. Feels like I'm supposed to say it was a good race and a cool shock result, but I'm not moved. Oh, God, Benjamin, I feel like it would take a lot to move you if that's not going to move you. Jesus Christ. But no, thank you for that, Benjamin. Thandie.
I'm going to go for Young Wonk. And his star is Charles. Donkey is who lost another lead by the end of the first lap. And Talking is the one who lost another lead by the end of the first lap. And the talking point is more teams should try wacky stuff.
They should. Just try it. You know what? I'd love to see teams at the front are too conservative. That's the problem. Mercedes were conservative in Belgium with Lewis. McLaren were conservative in Italy. And I think this year was showing that, yes, track position is important, but also these tyres are not falling off a cliff the way you guys think they're falling off a cliff. And I think people need to start cottoning onto that. Paris, do you have a tweet that you'd like to read?
I do not. I'm sorry. I was just just reading through them, and
I can read one if you want.
Yeah.
Well, look, that's fine. Yeah. I can read one. This one is from Rachel J at RJ Pianist. Star of the day is Charles Percival Leclerc. Yes, waiting to be a serious F1 driver. Donkey is definitely George because he lost that podium position way too easily. Clown. Talking point is were Red Bull cheating with asymmetrical brakes on Max's car? Because what? And I think we've covered that. I think we have covered that. Paris, are you ready?
Yeah, I've got one from Exo Silky O Exo. She says that Charles and Oscar, and never thought I'd say this, the Ferrari strategy team are her star of the day. Lando Norris is her donkey of the day. And her little comment is, I don't want McLaren to gift Norris stuff for the World Drivers' Championship, but to me it also shows they're not ready to have a World Drivers' Championship. And by the time they do, it will be Oscar fighting for it. So I think I agree with her there.
Yeah, fighting for it.
Real talk. Real fucking talks. There's real talk all over these comments. I'm not gonna lie. You
talk,
guys,
man. They never lie.
Thandie, do you have another?
I think you took mine, but I will go for Big Back Barbie. Shout out Mimi. And her star is Charles and maybe Oscar. Definitely agree. Donkey is Lando, and talking point is McLaren is not ready for the WDC, and Lando needs a sort of psychologist.
Did you hear that Nico Rosberg DM'd Lando Norris and tried to give him... Nico Rosberg DM'd Lando Norris and tried to give him advice about
mental health,
the mental side of things. So, he was like, you need to start thinking positively, start thinking glass half full, because when you think half empty, words mean things, manifestation, breathing words into life. And Lando aired it. He said Lando aired the DM, and then obviously Nico's interviewing him after, and you could just Nico's trying to question him, and obviously Lando's having none of it, and I was just like, he's never answering that DM now, is he? Like that's
it's
never
gonna be one
happen.
of them where one day he replies to the story and be like, "Oh, sorry, I missed this. Thanks."
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed it.
Back in January, and then you're getting a message back in August. Yeah,
I'm gonna reply.
September.
I was going through it. Sorry. I'm sorry, Paris.
It's all right, because we've actually spoken in between that, which is so mad.
It's crazy. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, Paris, do you have...
Hit him up with a high. Hit him up with a single high, and that's how you get his attention. Best way to get
Just a peace sign. I'll be like,
No,
cool.
you know what? Yeah, Thandie is one of those people that will just say hi and just nothing else.
Because I believe
So
you should greet people before you give them something you want to talk about. You should always say hi to someone. Always say hello before you just lay it on them.
No, I'm a person. I need to like tell you what I'm messaging you for, even if it's
Thank
just, hey, how are
you.
you?
Thank
Like I'm just
you.
checking in. I literally will write, I'm just checking in.
That
So
is
you know the tone of the conversation from the beginning.
Manners, and I will never change that. Everybody hates
absolutely
when I type hi, but it's literally me just saying hi.
serial killer. That's serial killer vibes. You know what else is serial killer vibes? The other day I saw Thandie's phone. Yeah, I swear to God. How you have the Instagram notifications on here? It's like a roulette chat of notifications just going off whenever. I swear to God, yeah, we've had like 4,000. There's like 7,000 likes on one video, and I'm just watching her phone, just like.
I know everything that's going on. That way, when you come to me and you're like, I already know what's going on. I know what DMs are in the request.
Yeah. Okay. Good responding to the comments there. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Do you have another one? I think you're on your last one, Paris. You have one more?
Yeah, I've got another one.
For the road?
Mind of Joel, or Mind of Joe 3L, Joel. Leclerc, aka the only King Charles we acknowledge. Facts, heavy facts.
Heavy.
McLaren for the donkey of the day, their strategy, their midfield mindset. Again, facts. And then Red Bull downfall isn't as fun as it could be because McLaren are too scared to be bold.
Oh,
God. That is bars.
bars.
That is bars. Well, look.
I'm feeling that.
I'm very much feeling that. Well, look, that has been, wow, time flies when you're having fun. That is a long-ass podcast. I hope you guys are still about. I hope you're still watching. Thank you for watching. But thank you, most importantly, look, we can't leave it this long again. I refuse to leave it this long again.
Yeah.
Paris, what an awesome guest you've been. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yay! Where can people find you?
I'm just on Twitter at Miss Paris Renee, MISSPARIS, Renee RENEE. And follow me there. You'll find out what I'm up to. It's usually a lot of random shit.
Look, random great stuff. Shout out to Paris. We can't wait to have you back. Thandie, any more for any more?
Perez, baby. I'm sorry that Scuderia Femboy couldn't translate that they'd given him asymmetrical brakes. But, you know, I tried to warn you at the start of the year, wouldn't listen. So have your bread and eat it.
Gotta have your bread and eat it. Gotta have your bread and eat that. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a subscription. We're on the road to 5,000 if you enjoyed the content, and we appreciate you. This is the first time you're watching, or if this is the last time you're watching. Oh God, actually, I think I've just bit the Joe Budden podcast intro.
Time you're ever watching. You're coming back here next week on Monday. You're coming back.
You'll be back. But thank you to all the subscribers. Much appreciated. All the listeners, much appreciated. If you've got an opinion, please comment down below. If you agree, if you disagree, I love interacting with you guys in the comments. So please leave a comment. I'll try to get back to as many as I can. If you're listening on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. If you're listening on Apple, leave us a review. And obviously, Patreon's there, and that helps to support the podcast. So please do that. We'll be back on Saturday with the Saturday show and Tasha, and obviously then we'll be back with the podcast next week. And yeah, thanks, guys. Until then, no matter what life throws at you, keep it on the black stuff. Take care of yourself. Hug the people around you. Love and that. Toodle pip. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quick Stop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links there. They're there.